Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Trading Capital's daily live stream of the market open. Today is currently June 4th. All right, jumping into the charts here. Overall, you're going to see that the NASDAQ has hit a high, the QQQ pre-market high of 453. Obviously, it did have a pretty big pullback early on in the session here, down to a pre-market low of 449.90. So right away, we have a pretty big multi-dollar range where the Qs can trade and oscillate into. What I'm also seeing in the Russell 2000, the Russell's actually negative on the session at the moment. So you do have some weakness creeping back into the tape with, again, small caps showing some signs that risk is leaving the market again. Small caps are down 0.77. The S&P right now is down 0.24%, and the NASDAQ is just slightly negative by 0.9. You are seeing Apple, NVDA, Microsoft, AMD, SNCI, Tesla all negative. There was some news on Tesla moments ago. The news article is that Elon Musk ordering NVIDIA to ship thousands of AI chips reserved for Tesla to X and XAI. So kind of putting Tesla on the back burner. Investors really didn't like that off of the initial hop. You can actually see here on the Tesla chart, Tesla actually took a dump off of that news. And it was a pretty big, 10-minute candle dump. Still seeing a little bit of distribution and selling at the moment. So we could finally see on the daily chart, I actually think that this market is entering a bit of a short zone. I think that NVIDIA could be a potential short, but with this potential bearish news on Tesla, are we finally going to see Tesla break this wedge pattern? You're getting to this apex ever so closely, and you're trying to test that area. So Tesla's at a key inflection point here. Today might be the day where Tesla can actually break down. Obviously, there's still a potential for an inverse head and shoulders, but if you break this wedge pattern to the downside, it puts the odds more into probability that this isn't an inverse head and shoulders, and we could actually go lower. So keeping Tesla on watch because that could be a bit of a short setup today. Seeing ARM down, Meta down, Google also slightly negative, Amazon. So there's a little bit of weakness in the mega caps, but they're kind of just flat across the board. Where you're predominantly seeing more weakness today is the small caps. You have KRE, regional banks, yet again another day that they're down on the session, and this is also following onto the basis that yields, you have the yield market, the 10-year yield down another 0.66% today, absolutely breaking down, and regionals can't really catch a bid at this point in time. I can clearly see where I think regionals are going to be going to in the near term. You could even potentially hit this zone today that will be some support. So I'm watching this key zone very, very closely, but regionals right now are getting slaughtered under pressure, immense pressure at the moment. So keeping our eye on this, even if we were to draw this wedge pattern on KRE, from these pivots, you can clearly see we're actually breaking down and gapping down over this key support at the moment. So the question is, do they close the regionals pretty bearish today? There's certainly a chance that they can do that. Little mini head and shoulders also on watch. So small caps clearly under a lot of pressure in the near term. What's also interesting is you have oil, guys. Oil is now looking to confirm a head and shoulders breakdown target. So another session where oil is breaking down and heading lower and lower. So again, oil's coming up into this little first pivot zone where if we lose this could be potentially a bit of a lower low if we lose this pivot. So I'm watching this key zone very, very carefully. This 71.50, 71.49 zone is very, very important for the price action in oil. But oil right now weakening, yields also continuing to drop at the moment. So energy stocks are certainly going to get rocked. And again, if oil is continuing to decline here, it does help technically it does help the S&P 500 stocks and their valuations. All right, so we are seeing the Qs push up. Today, Nat Gas also made an attempt at a breakout. So it was positive in the session, and then it got absolutely sold into and reversed. So another commodity that went from positive to negative at the moment. And right now it just needs more time. It is trying to set up potentially an inverse head and shoulders here on the intraday hourly chart. And you have your left shoulder, you have your head, you have your right shoulder potential. Tried getting through the neckline today, which got absolutely rejected and failed. So this could be a failed breakout, which typically results in fairly big moves. So I am looking at fading this market today. I think the names like NVDA are still a little bit bloated. I understand that there's a split coming into the near-term horizon, but I think fading NVIDIA, fading Tesla in this vicinity could be a good opportunity. Even looking at the Qs, you know, right now, as long as the Qs stay under pre-market high, I think it's a short. If we get above pre-market high, I think it's a long, all the way up to our prior day high. So I'm watching pre-market high on the Qs very, very closely, because I do think that that is going to be an area where bulls try to defend.